Hey guys, this is Swully&Bchaps bringing 2v2 commentary. We are currently rank 1 Master League, so we sort of know what we're talking about. Gonna toss up the good luck, have fun, see if they're mannered. A couple of dicks. Alright, so far, making workers. Good old workers. So we usually like to start off Hellion Ling.
The main reason we like Hellion Ling is it surprisingly is effective against any race combination. The only one we've tended to have some trouble against is double Zerg because the Roaches just seem to be really good at handling the Lings and the Hellions, whereas most other units like Stalkers surprisingly get absolutely destroyed by Lings and Hellions. So it's a pretty good build to do if you just want to assert map control, because from there you can sort of manipulate a lot of things in your favor.
Right, and I mean most of the time you don't get that much raw power with map control units. Like Mutt's kind of weak in a straight up engagement. Ling Hellion, very strong in an engagement and very good with map control. You'll be able to hold both your towers, and it's very important on a map like this because it's really all about who can get that high yield in a position like this.
Now, we have no idea as of this point that this guy is Protoss yet, but we do know there's a Zerg player, which always is what I like to, which is when I like to go Hellion for certain. Sometimes Bio's a good alternative, but I mean, now we know there's a Protoss, so it's like, oh, okay, we're fighting Protoss Zerg, so now we can go, well, this is pretty effective, this isn't double Zerg, so Hellions for sure should do some sort of damage, or at least keep them in their bases.
Yep. Right now, I'm going with the greedy build, going 16 pool. Denied that scout, that's nice. Used way too many drones, but that's alright. And then, Brian's got the gas opening. Over here, got the save chrono. I don't think we're aware of this at this point, but that's always an indicator of what kind of build they're going. And only one gas. Over here in Zerg, he's got his one gas. So, pretty standard opening from both the Zerg players. I think I got my hatch a little bit sooner than him.
Now, you always want to get your reactor after your first Marine if you want to get the Hellions out as quick as possible. It's risky to some rushes. That's why you need to sort of scout before you put the reactor down to see if they're doing some sort of early pressure. Otherwise, you can die to sort of like 6 pools or Rhine rushes, or any sort of rush can be damaging at this point because I'm going reactor so fast. And the reactor is important to get out first because it takes way longer than the factory to get out. And without that, your Hellion production isn't even, I mean, worth considering.
Yeah, you're really going to need a lot. You're going to need double Hellion, and the early Rhines are really good with this SimCity. It's going to defend you from virtually any kind of push, and we're going to have a lot of heads up because of the speedlings.
Oh, and if people are wondering why we don't wall off the ramp, it's depending on the map and depending on what races we're facing, we sometimes do, but it's pretty hard when it's one Terran player trying to wall off the whole ramp. Supply depots you can do, but sometimes that's dangerous too in 2v2s because people attack so much quicker that you can get supply blocked by having too many supply depots up in the front. So that's why I tend to prefer to build all my structures around my main base.
Yeah, just get that SimCity. It's just as good.
So Tori here scouted and showed me that they're going Roach Stalker, so I moved that Rax over at our main, I believe. Yeah, over to Marauder production because now I know Hellion Marauder should be good, which normally is very good against Zerg in general, but it's also a couple Marauders with the Lings are surprisingly really good at helping against any sort of, even if they have way more Roaches or Stalkers than you, you'd be surprised how good 2 or 3 Marauders can be.
Yeah, Marauders make people wish they didn't make Roaches. That's for sure.
Let's saying that from some experience, Swully?
A little bit, a little bit. No, they just completely poop on Roaches. And very good against Stalkers too, and fortunately that's what we're fighting in this game, looks like. Got the Twilight Council, and I believe we did know about that Twilight Council. Maybe not at this point. Nope, not yet.
These guys were pretty good at the beginning. The Stalkers were out there taking map control, which, if you know they don't that the Zerg player isn't going speed or hasn't gone speed, you can do that, and it's sort of a useful early map control. This guy is about to do something very dumb, which is move.
Yeah, I don't advise this.
Don't move command your units, and especially when we have the towers, because you're just gonna get torched like that.
Yeah.
He was going to sort of scout and see what we had, but he just A-clicked, and since we had the towers, we saw that coming, so we just put the Hellions out there immediately, so right when he went through the brush, he just got instantly shot at.
As well as trapped by the Lings. So, although that looked like he was complete trash, that was really just a small mistake of forgetting that we had these Xel'Nagas. And as he keeps trying to take them, I keep denying them.
Continuing with map control, a key part of 2v2s, probably the most key. At this point, I believe I've transitioned out of Hellions because there's a point where they start becoming worthless against. If the game goes long enough, then they do start losing their value because then there's no more units to fight against. Like right there, there's nothing the Hellions are good against at this point. Stalkers you can be pretty good against, but roaches are not.
Yeah, these
roaches seem to be really good.
145 and 1 armor. Now, so I was going with the Spire, but as soon as I saw this High Templar, we were able to see that that was in fact High Templar. That's when we decided, you know what? Screw the mutts. I don't make any of them. I cancel the mutts I was making, and I just go double upgrade Roach Warden and Infestation Pit off 2 base. It's actually pretty effective in 2v2s.
I throw down a Ghost because at this point I know he's not going Colossus, so my starport can just make Medivacs, and all I need are Ghosts to counter his play.
Yep. If this was a Robo Bay, we'd be going Viking. As it is, going Ghost.
It's always better for the Terran player to be the one to react to the Protoss player, because the Zerg, it's too much gas to go Corruptor, and unless you're, I mean, late game that can be useful for the Broodlords, but in general it's better for the Terran player to go for the counter to the Protoss, either Ghost or Viking.
Yep. Important to note, Command Center muled and saturated
and supplied
by the time they're attacking the rocks. So already large advantage going to us. Zerg player really lacking on drones. He's just not comfortable because of our map assertion in making drones at this time, because he doesn't know when we're going to attack. He's completely in the dark.
But what he does know is he's behind. So they're going to do some sort of pressure. Now, we have the tower again, so we see this coming. What we don't see, and this battle starts going pretty poor, is it looks really good. We're about to trap all these roaches. Now things start falling apart really badly. They sort of got a sandwich. Those Blink Stalkers are going to be pretty good at this time. I realized pretty quickly this is about to go downhill, and we start falling back. All my Marauders die, so at this point, they have a good army lead. And they should be able to win in a push, but what we do have to our advantage is a lot of Medivacs. And Medivacs can heal our roaches. And though it's more efficient to heal like Marines and Marauders with the Medivacs, at this point we're in a little bit of panic mode because that battle went so poorly for us. This guy does
this I don't agree with.
Yeah. He goes for workers.
I think the Blink Stalker should have probably stuck with the Roach Force and picked off as much as they could for as long as possible, because this is really just suicide. You want to keep those Blink Stalkers alive.
He killed about like 3 or 4 SCVs for the price of losing 6 Stalkers, which is going to be a great deal. Plus, we still have our base up, which is the high yield.
Yeah, really delayed on this. And so, although they were able to get that base up, they were able to. It was really bad play on our part, and they could have done a lot more. Had they walked DTs up in here, I would have been wrecked. All they did was some burrow-infested Terran, which can be strong if the army's not very close.
This is about to be a good move. I'm baiting right now both their armies so that Swully can run in there with his roaches from the side. So see here, I run back and now go, yeah, watch this.
He just runs away.
Runs away, but we get the base. Now they're all in. At this point, they have to do an attack eventually. It might not be immediately, but they're so far behind, they have to do an attack soon. I tend to be a safer player in general. In 2v2s, there's a lot of people do DTs, mutts, cloak banshees. So, unlike in 1v1s, I would recommend putting up turrets or spores just as a standard in every single game, because it just seems much more likely and often it happens that some sort of cloaked unit or flying unit comes out of sort of a surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people will do it even if they don't have the money to support it, just because the off chance that it really does take their economy down. And at this point, they're just trying to do anything they can to establish a lead. And I'm just trying to cement ours with a burrowed roach, anything to just keep delaying this, because I know all they're going to be doing is a large engagement, so I'm just trying to work on my pop max. Bchaps working on his pop max.
Got the cloak ghosts. Very useful if you can engage the Protoss ally. Get your cloak ghosts in there and get all their EMP autos off. It's pretty much an auto win if you can get that off.
Yeah, they have a very energy composition, so if we can get a couple EMPs off on this, it'll be GG.
Honest, at this point, we really don't know they have infestors because they haven't come out to attack us yet, and the burrowed ones we don't know about.
I guess he must have forgotten about these. I don't know. Have a good engagement on us. This is just too powerful. This is too much of a help to us. So I'm going to go and I'm going to try to snipe these, back up a little bit, and just I'm completely willing to lose a couple roaches to keep our lead. And I just back off right there.
Now, when we look at the counter up at the top, you can see how low their worker count is compared to ours, and just how much superior ours is in general. We're able to produce way more units, especially than that Protoss player.
Burrow really good against storms, guys. Get stormed, run away, Burrow.
Healing. Hooray! He's got the Medvacs and the Burrow. Together that helps just increase the longevity of those roaches. At this point, we're just sort of macroing up, and sometimes you can overextend yourself, so we know we're so far ahead, and we're getting a third command center, and this is just putting us vastly ahead of theirs. They still are only on 3 bases to our total 4. We know we're ahead. There's no point.
High yield.
There's no point to overextend and necessarily risk our lead in some big battle that we could lose. These guys really need to either do a lot of harass, which I like this. I like the infestors being sent out, because they need to do something at this point. These guys know that they either have to kill a bunch of workers or just absolutely dominate us in a battle. So this
looks like we knew about it,
but we don't.
And you know, really, if you ever see blink stalkers, you should be assuming DTs in the first place. So the fact that we didn't have any detection,
it's probably waiting to use them in the big engagement. But so here it comes. Now my vision is way over elsewhere. This is both of us looking away and taking a ton of damage. We are in some trouble.
There goes the nuke. There's defensive nuke.
I'm scared, so I'm firing defensive nuke, EMPing as many of those infestors as I can. I completely blow it on the Protoss army, but fortunately, macro for the win and just a much larger army and all the medevacs healing provides us with just a very superior army. At this point, it's over.
So they did a great job. They caught us with our pants down. They had the most cost-efficient units in the game, infestors and High Templar. So they did a lot of things right.
And in 2v2s, this is another.
There it goes. Got a lot of worker kills on that.
At this point, it's too late, that harass. And another issue is, well, a reason the infestors and High Templars are so good in teams is good use of fungal with Storm on top. Pretty much is a life ender for any army.
Yeah.
As you saw, some of those roaches quickly lost life, and it wasn't so much from the fungal as it was from the storms just draining.
Yeah, they stack right on top of each other, and that is one deadly composition. You cannot run away.
At this point, we've seen that they're both gone. I'm going to go for the Zerg player because I'm better at countering him, and Swully's going to go for the Protoss player because Storm's not as good against roaches, and we're just going to push in for the win, and this is...
Yeah, this is just cleaning up at this point.
GG.
GG. The other guy's going to stay for a little bit. There we go. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.